Hey, what's going on, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about arena offense. I see a lot of people in the chat talking about struggling with arena offense and not really understanding why they're not having any success. And I know that this game is fairly new, so I would imagine that a lot of the players that are playing the game are new to these types of games. Some of us have some experience. I personally came from Summoner's War. I played Summoner's War for about 3 years. I've been playing Marvel Strike Force for a while, and I've played several other games of this genre, so I'm very familiar with the skeleton of the game and how everything works in general. It's just a matter of learning the ins and outs of this particular game and all the heroes and champions and using the correct terminology. So in advance, if I say runes when I mean artifacts, I'll go ahead and apologize in advance because I'm sure I'm going to do it. But what I wanted to talk about, excuse me, and give everybody a little bit of guidance, is how to put together just a quick cleave comp. A cleave comp is a really standard arena offense, and it's designed to go in and just wipe out a defense. So no real long battles. Ideally, you just go in, everybody does their thing, and you're done. You're on to the next battle. So there's a misconception that having strong heroes equals having strong teams or strong compositions. And that's not really the case. Just because you've pulled a legendary or you have a few epics, you can't just load up a team full of epics and legendaries and expect them to do well in the arena. There's got to be some synergy. They've got to be doing some things that benefit each other. And there's got to kind of be a goal in mind. So for those of you that already know what I'm talking about, bear with me. I'm going to do a lot of these videos as though I'm talking to players who are playing Raid and it's the first time they've ever played a game like this. So I'm going to be breaking things down to the most basic level that I can, just to make sure that I get everybody included in the understanding. And as I said, I have quite a bit of experience in these types of games, so even if you've been playing for a little bit, maybe I'll have some information for you that you did not consider, or a different take on something that might be able to help you out. So we're going to talk about cleave comps. I'm going to show you mine. I'm going to explain why I use it the way I use it, what they do, and then I'm going to show you all of the attack bar boosters in this game so that you can go into your champion collection and decide if you have them or if you want to be on the lookout for them when you're summoning, so you'll know when you pull them, okay, I can start to put together this particular comp. But yeah, that's kind of the goal of this video. So we're focusing on putting together a cleave comp, and I'm going to be going through and showing you all of the attack bar boosters in the game. I don't know what's going on with my nose. All the attack bar boosters in the game, and we're going to talk a little bit about their kits and what they do. So it's going to be not an insanely long video, but a little bit on the longer side, I guess. But hopefully it's going to be packed with value for you and lots of good info and all that jazz, so I can send you off into the arena to have some success. It feels like there's a ghost tickling my nose with a ghost feather right now. Okay, so I don't have any coins. I'm pretty sure I have some stuff in here. Let's just do that. Okay, so in the arena, we'll go in. We'll just go into here. Now this is my team. So it's Gallic, Aethel, Doomscreech, who I was fortunate enough to pull. He is one of the attack bar boosters we'll be talking about. And what's her name? Still learning everybody's names. Valerie. She is my attack buffer. So what this team does is Doomscreech is going to go first. He's my attack bar booster. That just means he's going to boost everybody's attack bar. So what he's doing is compensating for a lack of speed. So having an attack bar booster on your team allows you to focus your other stats harder. So for instance, these are my two attackers. I don't have to focus or worry so much about having speed on these two because I have a 30% attack bar booster on my team. So I don't have to sacrifice attack power, attack and crit rate and crit damage. I don't have to sacrifice those stats in search of speed. So they can just be runed to hit hard. And then she is my attack buffer. So let's go ahead and load up a battle, and I can show it to you in action. And then we'll get into talking about the different champions that have the attack bar boost function. So as you can see, Doomscreech goes first. I've got him runed to be speedy. Everything I did on him was focused on speed and HP. So he goes first. Now if we take a look at everybody's attack bars right now, she almost got me. She will be the next one to get a turn if I don't have an attack bar booster here. But you see, you can't even see. I'm pointing at the screen like y'all can see it. the reviver chick, this chick, I don't remember her name. She's the one you get for your first week of playing. I'm pointing at the screen. I'm rusty. I haven't been making videos for well over a year actually, so give me a break. But yes, she is the reviver that you get after your first week of playing the game and your bonuses. A lot of people stick around their arena defense, and she's not really a bad option, to be honest. It's a reviver's always nice. You do want to build around it for it to really be effective, but again, we're not really going to be talking about putting together defenses in this video. So you can see my mouse, yeah. She would go before everybody on my team if I didn't have Doom Screech. Gallic, looks like his Gallic's a little bit faster than mine, and I think my Adfil would have outsped him. But anyway, none of this matters because I have an attack bar booster. So what we're going to do is fill everybody's attack bar up, basically. And then she is my attack buffer. And now it's just a matter of my attackers doing what they're designed to do. So let's see if they're able to pull it off. Team is a little bit tankier than I anticipated, but still not going to be a big deal. Now we can auto out. She's going to revive and do her thing, but it's not really going to be a big deal. I had to switch over to BlueStacks. I've never used BlueStacks before. I used to use Samsung SideSync, and they've decided they're not going to let it work anymore with the Galaxy S9. And I tried a thing called Samsung Flow and hated it. It was extremely laggy. So BlueStacks was really patting themselves on the back about how fast they were. Still a little laggy though, but maybe we'll work that out. But anyway, that's what it looks like in action. So it's not going to win every battle. There are ways to counter a cleave comp, but in general, especially in the lower levels of bronze and silver, and probably up even into gold, you're probably not going to run into too many issues as long as you have artifacts. I think I've already said runes a couple times. As long as you have some decent artifacts on your champions. And the turn order is correct. You don't have to worry so much about tuning until you get into the higher levels. And what I mean by tuning is if you have a 30% attack bar booster, then your subsequent players in the turn order need to be within a certain number of speed points of your attack bar booster, or what's going to happen is potentially someone on the other team is going to be able to cut in on your turn. Because for the cleave comp to be effective, everybody needs to get their turn off in succession without being cut. And if you're not tuned properly, when every speed point really starts to count as you get up in the higher levels, it's going to get more and more likely that someone's going to be able to cut you. So if you're tuned properly, that becomes impossible. But again, these are things that are not going to be important for a good while for those of us that are down in bronze right now. So don't get too hung up on the tuning and thinking of getting everybody's speed working together in that sense. Just make sure your attack bar booster goes first. Then any buffers you have go before your attackers. Your attackers need to go last. So just keep that in mind when you're putting together and putting artifacts on everybody. Just make sure your turn order's right, and you will be fine. And as I said, you're going to lose. Sometimes people really tank their defenses up. Some people know what they're doing, and they build anti-cleave comps because that's what experienced players are accustomed to having to do. Figure out a way to counter the cleave, because the cleave is very powerful. It's simplistic enough for new players to get their head around and put together and use, but it's effective enough that it works even in the highest levels of the game. So it's always on people's minds when they're building defenses that have experience with these types of games. So anyway, let's get into the index and start talking about our attack bar boosters. We have 2 in the high elves. The first one is a legendary, so obviously a lot of us are not going to see her. A lot of us are not going to have her. But some of you are going to, and that's why I'm going to go over all the heroes, even if they're legendary and it's really unlikely you're ever going to get them. There will be those of you that do have these heroes, so I want to be sure I cover them and kind of explain to you why they're good and what they're bringing to the table. So, first things first, increases ally speed in all battles by 24%. That's phenomenal. That's it's not exclusive to an element. It's not elements in this game. What is it called? The force and magic and spirit. They're not elements in this game. Affinity, maybe? Well, anyway, it's not exclusive to a particular affinity, is what I'm going to call it for now. It's all allies, which is always nice. Paint with a broader stroke, and then all battles. So anywhere you take her, 24% speed lead. Really, really nice. Really nice. Here we've got a speed buff and a turn meter attack bar boost. 30% attack bar boost, which is already really, really nice. Decreases turn meter of all enemies by 30%. So it's in essence a 60% attack bar boost for your team, which means even in the higher levels, you don't have to worry too much about speed on your attackers. You just need to make sure she goes first, and you can pretty easily get your attackers within 60% of her speed in the higher levels. That's nasty. So really, really, really excellent. And then the speed buff just makes your team faster for the next 2 turns, assuming there's that many turns. You know, if your cleave comp isn't able to wipe someone on turn 1, they'll have the speed buff for a little bit. She's got her attack bar reset for an enemy. That's always nice to have. Use it. Think before you use it on who you're using it on. And, you know, as you start to learn the champions, and same with me, I'm still learning the champions. So I catch myself in battle sometimes where I don't have any idea who I should be focusing or what I should be looking out for. But the more you play, you'll start to recognize champions and what they do, what they're bringing to the table, and all that. And then transfers all debuffs from this champion to the target. Yeah, whole kit is solid. It's going to be hard to put debuffs on her unless you lock her up with a stun or a freeze, because as soon as she gets a turn, she's just going to give them back to somebody else on the enemy team. So you got the enemy team is going to have to be real careful about what kind of debuffs they put on her. Really, really solid. Easy to see why she's a legendary. But that attack bar boost paired with the decrease for the enemies is really, really nasty. Next, we're going to talk about a rare. Some of you have probably seen his name come up in chat. I see a lot of people talking about Apothecary, and rightfully so. He is just your standard attack bar booster. He's a rare, so he's not super hard to come by. Is he farmable? I don't think he's farmable. I probably should have figured that out. Either way, he's not incredibly rare. I think I pulled him within my first 15 to 20 summons. I'm sure there will be some of you out there who have been through hundreds of scrolls and haven't gotten him yet. That's just the way it works. But you know, he's not as hard to get as, say, an epic or a legendary. But it's a standard 15% attack bar buff, and he gives a speed buff for 2 turns, which is nice. So he's got really, really good base speed too, which is probably another reason he's so popular. So yeah, to get him, throw a bunch of speed on him, make sure he goes first, and then have an attack bar buffer for your nukers, and then we'll get into a little bit more of the details about some of the options when building a cleave comp after we talk about these heroes. That's going to do it for High Elves. We are now going into Sacred Order, and we're going to talk about Frostbringer, who is an epic. I didn't label. I think this is her. Yes, perfect. Okay, she's not an attack bar booster, but I just wanted to talk about this little pair of skills right here. This speed buff with the 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. That's sick. So again, she's not a booster, but if you have her, she could go after your attack bar booster and really set your damage dealers up to do some hard hitting. So doesn't technically fall into the category I'm talking about, but I wanted to give her a little shout out because that's a pretty nice skill, and I'm sure some of you are going to have her. Next, let's go to Barbarians and Anointed. I believe this is him. I'm still learning everybody's face. Anointed, he's a rare, so again, not impossible that you're going to get him, and he's got a 25% attack bar boost for everybody and a crit rate buff. Now, we'll pause for a second to talk about some of the aspects of a cleave comp. You want your attack bar booster. You want an attack buffer. If possible, you want an AoE defense breaker. And then if you can get crit rate or crit damage buffs, those are great bonuses, and speed buffs. Those are not super necessary, but any extra buffs beyond those are just nice little bonuses. Anytime you can get a champion to fill more than one of those roles, it opens up more opportunities to you to fill your comp with more damage. So for him doing the turn meter and the crit rate buff, now you just need the attack buff and the defense. You can build a 1 damage dealer cleave comp. I'm currently running 2 because I don't have the AoE defense break, but if I did, I would replace probably Aethel with the AoE defense breaker and run Doom Screech attack bar boost, then my little attack buffer chick, then an AoE defense breaker, and then I'd let Gallic hit everybody with his AoE skill. and see how that worked out for me. But he's really great, and he's a rare. The 25% attack bar boost is among the highest or the higher tier of attack bar boost I've seen in the game. And like I said, the 30% crit rate buff is a really nice bonus. Base speed, not so great. But for bronze and silver especially, you just fill them up with speed sets and look for speed anywhere you can get it. Main stat on the boots, and then if you can get speed subs on all the other items, you'll be in good enough shape to do really well through bronze and silver, and probably a little bit of gold even, depending on what kind of substats you're able to find on your artifacts. I might have just said runes again. Sorry, I keep doing that. I will eventually break that habit. Next, we're going into the Ogren tribes. Ogren. And we're looking at Shatter Bones. If I can get it right on the first try. Yes. Shatter Bones. Decent base speed at 97, and he does the speed debuff on all enemies and the 25% attack bar boost. So that's nice. Again, among the higher, most of the best ones will have the, I think 30% is the highest I've seen. So he's pretty much top tier as far as attack bar boost goes. And then he slows everybody down on the enemy team, which is a great little bonus to have. Anytime you can pull away from the amount of turns the enemy's going to get, or get your turns in quicker, that's great. So bring in solid standard attack bar booster right here. Decent enough base speed. If you got him, work him in the mix. Next, we are heading into Skinwalkers. And there are two of them in there. They're both rares. So we've got Blood Painter, who does the 20% attack bar boost and attack buff. Now this is great. This is filling two crucial roles in your cleave comp. So he's taking care of your attack bar boost and your attack buff. That gives you a lot of freedom to fill your cleave comp up with damage dealers, because your two most important things are done now. So you can either if you've got an AoE defense breaker, or even just a single target defense breaker just to ensure someone dies, and then double damage dealer, you can do that. You can run 3 damage dealers. It gives you a lot of freedom because he's taking care of the very crucial aspects of a cleave comp. So really, really nice if you have Blood Painter. Was he lit up? Did I have him? Is this Blood Painter? I have him. Who knew? Like I said, I got a lot of champions sitting in my collection, and I have not made it down to them. I'm only working on the ones I'm working on to get through the campaign, and the ones I'm currently using. But knowing that I have him, I will have to get him in the rotation of getting leveled up and put him to work, because that's it. That's what you want right there. So if you've got him, put him in, coach. Next, we're looking at Channeler. He's another Skinwalker, and he is a speed buffer with a 15% attack bar boost. Decent enough. The speed buff is great for 2 turns, and it's a good enough attack bar boost. 103 base speed. Not a bad option at all. So if you've got him, great. Not a bad option. It's not the 30%. We'd all love to have the 30% boosters, but not going to work out like that for everybody. Now, we're going into Demonspawn, and we're talking about Prince Kamar. I don't know exactly how to pronounce that. I don't know why no one's talking about this dude. I have not seen his name come up in chat once when people are talking about the stronger champions in the game. But I'm going to go through his whole kit. He is my most desired legendary in the game. As far as utility goes, I want Sir Nicholas, of course, because I think he looks dope. But as far as utility and who I would just really be excited to put to use, it's this dude. He is just an absolute freak. First skill, AoE, which is area of effect. I don't know if I covered that already, but for anybody who like I said, is new to all of this, AoE is area of effect. It means it hits everybody. Everybody on the enemy team. Doesn't always mean it hits everybody, but it's an area of damage. So in this case, it's all enemies. Sometimes it'll be, maybe they won't hit all enemies. They'll hit 2 or 3 enemies. So, but this is AoE. It's going to hit everybody on the enemy team. So if he crits, he lands a poison debuff on everybody. And that's his first skill. First skill's an AoE. that places poison debuff. Second skill is an AoE that removes all buffs on the whole damn team. Get out of here. And then puts them to sleep? Are you kidding me? That means you can't be safe from that unless your resistance is through the roof. Because even if you've got, I don't know what the artifacts are called in this game, but they're the equivalent of will runes in Summoner's War. Basically, they give you immunity to debuffs and things like that happening to you. He's going to strip that off of you before he puts the sleep on you. And he's doing it to the whole team. That's just absurd. Third skill resets the cooldowns of all ally skills, fills the turn meter of all allies except this champion by 20%. The reset is really cool. You would use him differently because of this. You want him to go last because what you want is for everybody to get their power moves off. Then you want him to come in behind him and reset it so that you can do round 2 of it. Okay, so he's a little bit different. He is an attack bar booster, but you're not going to use him the same way you'd use other ones. And again, I'm probably talking to 6 or 7 people at this point because he's a legendary. But if you have him, congratulations. I'm jealous. Oh, and ally speed in the arena by 30%. Crazy. Everything about this dude is crazy. He's got really solid base speed. That's my dude. At this point, based on everything I know about the game so far, that's my most desired champion to pull in the game. Dude is an absolute monster. Also in Demonspawn, we have Diabolist. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 15. Decreases of all enemies by 15. It's in essence a 30% attack bar boost. That's all she's bringing to the table, but it's all she needs to bring to the table. Follow her up with an attack buffer. Let your damage dealers go to work. Or follow her up with an attack buffer, then an AoE defense breaker for the enemies, and then let your AoE damage dealer go to town. Just ruin them up real hard for damage. But yeah, very standard, but very effective. Last but not least, we'll be heading into Undead Hordes. And we've got Gorgorab, who looks pretty fun, actually. Pretty solid hero all around. Base speed's a little on the low side, but still not really a problem. Speed buff in the arena, 23%. Very solid. Revives. He's got the revive followed by the heal in the same skill. So basically, if they die, they're coming back with 50% health. And it's not a targeted revive. It's an AoE revive. Very beneficial. He's got the 15% attack bar buff and the 50% attack buff. Again, that's the man. That's if you've got him, he's filling the 2 very crucial roles of the support characters in a cleave comp. So he's placing the stronger version of the attack buff on everybody. He's got the attack bar boost. Solid dude. Now Seeker, if I'm remembering correctly, is a little bit more desirable strictly for an attack bar booster for the comp. As an overall hero, I think Gorgorab might have him beat. But this dude does the same attack buff, but he also gets the 30% boost, which again is the highest that I've seen. So really strong boost, really strong attack buff, and then he gets an extra turn just to pepper in a little bit of damage on somebody to help your attackers take them out. If they don't get taken out, there's a chance of him putting a provoke on them. So you target the right person on their team. Maybe they've got a healer or a reviver or somebody that's going to put a hiccup in what's going on. If they survive, throw a provoke on them so that they can't get that skill off. Super useful. Really strong, solid attack bar booster role with the attack buff. Really good. And then last but not least, the one that I was fortunate enough to pull pretty early on, Doomscreech. He does the 30% turn meter and 60% defense buff. The defense buff, I'm sure that there are champions in the game that do damage based on defense. I may have some sitting in my inventory right now and have just not made my way down to read their skills and learn about them and put them to use yet. But you could certainly build a cleave comp with that, with heroes who do damage based on defense. But that's not currently what I'm doing, so I have to also have an attack buffer in my comp, which is what I'm using Valerie for. So, but that's it. That's all the boosters in the game, unless I've made a mistake and overlooked someone. There are other technically champions that boost attack bars, but it's single target or it's circumstantial, and those are not the kinds of skills that I wanted to be talking about in this video. I wanted to be talking about champions that you could get, that you could rune up to be fast so that they go first, and use a skill to boost your whole team's attack meters. So if the other champions, like I said, have certain stipulations or it's single target, and it's not the kind of thing that I'm talking about for this video. So that's pretty much it. I hope that this was helpful. There will be a lot more videos to come. I'll also be streaming this on Twitch, and I'm just JGigs on Twitch if you want to head over and drop a follow and try to catch me live. As I said, I've been gone for a while, so I'm finally got my setup back up, and I'll be able to get back on a stream schedule and start pumping these videos out again. So I don't know exactly when I'll be live on Twitch, when I'll be streaming, but you know, if you wanted to head over there and follow, you might be able to catch me live, and we can talk about the champions you have, and I could help you put together some comps, and we could have a good old time doing that type of stuff. So, as I said, hope it helped. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or critiques or any things you'd like to see me make a video on moving forward. I have a lot of planned for videos, but I'm always open to helping you guys out and answering questions you have, and even making videos specifically for some of your questions if they warrant a video. So, other than that, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.